Hi, thanks for watching. This is my presentation on the life of a star. Okay, so it starts out as a stellar nebula. And basically what a stellar nebula is a big swirling cloud of gas and particles. And nebula basically just means cloud-like or misty, so you can picture it like a cloud. Kind of like this picture. After a little while, it starts condensing. Well, sometimes it condenses on its own gravity and just pulls all these things in, all these particles in, kind of like this, forming a average star. Now, after all this condensing from gravity and pulling all these things in, building and starting nuclear fusion, it creates this average size star. Now, you could consider an average size star as like a teenager, okay? Excuse me. Now, a teenager has some experience, it's not quite middle age yet, but it's getting there. But it is still very young compared to, cosmic years. And then after it grows up, it turns into a red giant. Now, you can consider a red giant as a middle-aged man. Okay, it still has a ways to get older, but it's not really going to get any bigger. And these are fairly large, red giant. It's obviously bigger than the average size star. And this is denser and stuff. And anyway, when it dies, it basically starts shedding off all this material, the outer layers from stellar wind. And this is called a planetary nebula. Now you can picture this like peeling an egg. After you peel an egg, you get to the yolk. Well, when it sheds off all these layers, after it's done, blowing all this stuff away, which actually might later turn into a stellar nebula, all this stuff it's shedding off, it turns into a white dwarf. Now, a white dwarf is an incredibly hot, small remnant of what used to be the planet, basically. And then that was one way to go from the stellar nebula. Another way to go from stellar nebula is it turns straight into a massive star. Now, a massive star is what you might think it is. It's an incredibly massive star. It is way more bigger than the red giant, and guess what? It's just starting out. This is like a teenager, and it's already super huge. And then it turns into a red supergiant. Now, a red supergiant is way, way big. It is huge, and obviously it also must come to an end. And when it does, it is called a supernova. And the supernovas are spectacular explosions, basically, of when it is finally done with the nuclear fusion. And then it will either turn into a black hole, which is kind of like this toilet flushing. It just sucks everything in from the pull of gravity, even light, so that's why we can't see it. Or it turns into a neutron star. Now, a neutron star is an incredibly dense, for its size, it is incredibly dense. It is, excuse me, it isn't very big most of the time, but it can be. But it is just basically a dense star that sometimes occurs as the result of a red supergiant. And to picture it, a teaspoon of the material from a neutron star would equal the 900 times of the mass of the Pyramid of Giza. Thanks for watching. I hope you learned a little.